Okay, well, I'm from South Carolina. So where are you all from? New Jersey. New Jersey. Okay. Okay, well, I'm from, I was originally from New Jersey, in Boonton, New Jersey, and then, really? Oh, right. That's great. But anyway, we've lived in South Carolina since 1970, so, but I still don't have that southern accent. Do you think? I don't think so. Okay, let's hear it for Gary, KK4AGN. He unveiled my Quilt. All right, and I want to thank Michelle for inviting me. Hello, Michelle, to the wonderful Young Ladies Radio League convention. This is my first one, so I'm learning a lot. And also, don't be disappointed. I'm not having a drawing on this Q-Silk quilt. All right? And also, my talk is non-technical. But I'm really impressed with so many of you ladies that know so much about amateur radio. You're really an expert in it. All right, what I'm going to cover is, in my 50 States Q-Silk quilt, is I'm going to answer why I make a Q-Silk quilt, my modes of communication, ways to confirm a Q-Silk, different types of Q-Silk cards, vintage Q-Silk cards, and the creation, finally, of my Q-Silk quilt. Now, before I even had the idea of having a Q-Silk quilt, or collecting cards from 50 states when I got my ham license in 2011, I wanted to have a personalized Q-Silk card. A Q-Silk card that other hams would want to exchange their card with mine. And after they would see my Q-Silk card on my QRZ.com bio, they would want to get my card. And I decided that I wanted to have a cartoon. And what I did is I did some searching on the internet to find a cartoonist. And Jim, there's Jim back there. There is a talented cartoonist. He's a ham. And his call is M2EST, and he's got his own company called Ham Tunes. So, look him up if you're thinking about having a cartoon for your Q-Silk card. And I know Jim because he was a Georgia boy, but now he's a local Oklahoma City boy. So, all right, how many of you know Jim? All right, so he's a good guy. So I was glad I could see Jim here this time because I knew him from Atlanta. So, Jim came up with a very nice cartoon for me with my motorhome and my dog, Sunshine, and of course with my headset on. But, people ask me, where's your husband? I thought he drives this motorhome. I said, he's got to get his own car. Yeah. I'm not going to have him in my car. Okay, why would I want to make a quilt? Because I could probably show all 50 states Q-Silk cards as a wall hanging rather than just store these 50 state cards in a shoebox. And also, I was pretty sure no other ham had made a quilt before. So I was one of a kind. How many of you here are quilters, ladies and gentlemen? All right, that's wonderful, wonderful. I don't quilt. Just so you know, I'm not a quilter. All right, but I'll explain that later. Oh, I forgot to change this. I'm very sorry what happened. Okay. All right, now Margie's Q-Silk modes of amateur radio is UHF, VHF, HF, D-Star, Digital, DMR, PSK 31, FT8, QRP, Satellite, Echolink, remote radio. I call it a virtual radio, and I brought one with me today. Okay, here's just a Margie in action, just some shots of me, and in the middle one, the top, you see me making some satellite contacts with AO85. How many of you have made satellite contacts? Raise your hand. All right, you know, it's a real challenge, and it's really cool to do that. How about QRP? How many QRP? That's great. In fact, we have a couple here that have a QRP club. Okay. What is it?
4 states QRP.
4 states QRP. So look up this couple over here, and they'll tell you more about it. Okay, now here we have the Three Stooges. And one mode that I've not achieved is CW. I've done everything else. So I'm gonna have you listen to this little short clip I have of the Three Stooges and see if you can figure out what CW is. Now I don't have any sound coming through these through the projector, so I have to put it through my computer. So let's see if it works. Trying to do everything here. Okay, so there you see the Three Stooges. All right. So tell me, did anybody know what those CW codes said? Just random words. That's really cool. You know that. Yeah. Oh, to me, it's just gobbledygook. I can't figure it out at all. Okay, and let me go to my next page here. Okay, I have about 300 cards that I've collected since 2011. Most of the cards I've received is when I was an activator as an activator in 2016 for YLRL celebrating National Parks on the Air 100th anniversary. And all my contacts were either 20 meter or 40 meters. How many have been activated or an activator or a chaser for National Parks on the Air? I wish it was still around. It was a lot of fun. I really loved it. I got to travel a lot in the motorhome. Okay, talking about traveling, my husband Gary, KK4AGN, is really good looking over here. And I traveled in our motorhome to 19 states. Many times I had pile-ups, especially when they hear a female, and I activated 73 parks. And so you can see Gary and I down there in that little motorhome.
Which park did you activate here in Oklahoma?
In where, Arizona?
No, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. You know, I should have did my homework. I don't remember. All right, I'm sorry about that. I'll have to look it up. How about New Jersey? What did we do in New Jersey, Gerhard? Do you remember? I remember like the Delaware Water Gap. Delaware Water Gap.
Wild and Scenic River.
Wild and Scenic River, there we go. He even had to take a metal tape ruler to make sure we didn't go beyond 100 feet because there was a river right there. And you know, we can't bring our motorhome just anywhere. By a boat launch, that's correct. All right, so just to give you an idea that at the end of December 2016, when the National Parks on the Air was over, I had made 4,500 QSOs. And out of those 4,500 QSOs, 72% were confirmed on LOTW. And that's a great percentage from what I understand. Okay, I decided, well, I may qualify for the work all states. And how many of you have worked all states? Cool. I envy you. Because I did not fill one of the criteria, which was contacts made at the same location. Because we did a lot of our contacts all over the country. So I'll continue getting the award sometime. Okay, there are methods of confirming a Q cell. Either paper or plastic. Oops, I don't mean paper or plastic. That's it for the grocery store. Plastic, I should say paper or electronically. So here are some of the electronic logging webs. We have ARR Logbook of the World, LOTW, as well as Exchange Electronic QSO cards, EQSL, and also QRZ.com. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you some of my QSO cards in the 50 States QSO quilt that you see here this morning. And I have state or home landscapes. I have cartoons, there you go. There's for Jim over there. And the very top there is mine, the KK4AGN, as well as AB4YL. Is that right, Jim?
Yeah, yes, a friend of mine from Atlanta.
All right, that's right. I've met her. She's a lot of fun. Of course, who doesn't love a kitty cat or a doggy or a puppy? So I just want to read one of the cards I got. He said, "My dog Phoenix was 13 years old. He was always in the radio room with me as I traveled the world with amateur radio. He will always be remembered and not forgotten." Okay. All right, special event stations. I'm sure many of you have done special event stations, and the one that I really enjoy every year is 13 colonies. How many of you have done 13 colonies? Oh, that's really fun. As an activator, no kidding, for New Jersey. Okay, well that's great. This is my 4th year that I've done the 13 states. And I got a clean sweep. So those are not that easy, but they're fun. Okay, D-Star. I really enjoy D-Star. Of course, it's digital. And over the last 3 years, I've talked to hams all over the world, including a D-Star friend from South Korea, Ivan Lee. Okay, as I mentioned, I've had satellite contacts, and this one here is a SO50. And then I've had FT8 digital contacts, QRP 5 watts on 40 meters. How many of you have done FT8?
Not yet.
Yeah. It's not one of my favorite because you can't really rag chew, you know, just do your grid zone, your grid square zone, and that's it. All right, next is QSO card notes that I got from hams that had on the back of their card. I'm only going to read 2 of them. The first one is from Indiana. And YLs and XYLs are rare. I've been a ham for over 50 years. In my whole ham life, I've only worked 20 YLs and XYLs. So that's pretty cool. And Hawaii. I'd like to see pictures of your quilt. Quilting is big in Hawaii. Well, isn't that something? Okay, vintage QSO cards. Now, believe me, folks, I don't have any vintage QSO cards. I wasn't born back in 1926. And I just noticed that on one of the QSO cards, they log the times as AM or PM, not UTC. So today you have to have UTC. Another card the operator ran on 7.5 watts over a ZEP antenna. Okay, and now I have next, earliest known QSO card exchange was when 8UX Carl Hoffman from New York sent a card to Edward Andrews 3TQ in Pennsylvania in 1916. And of course, two-way contacts were not always possible, but at least the operator would go ahead and send that other operator a contact and let them know that they heard them. Okay. All right, the earliest U.S. licensed female wireless radio operator was Gladys Kathleen Parkin, 6SO. How many of you have a call sign that's only 3 digits? Nobody, right? I don't think so. Okay, the earliest was, of course, Kathleen Parkin. And she had to have a license because there was a radio act of 1912 that required all amateur radio operators had to be licensed. Tell me, were any of you younger than 15 years old when you got your license? Raise your hand. Younger than 15? Okay, but how old were you, Robin, at the first one? I couldn't hear. What age were you? Oh, you were 15. Okay, I don't have my hearing aids in today, okay?
I was 15 too.
You were 15. Anybody younger than that? Yes. How old were you, sir?
13.
13. All right. That was just a few years ago, wasn't it? I think so. Okay, another important person is Barbara Mary Dunn. Her call was 6GYL. She was the first British lady to receive her amateur radio license in 1927. And I guess that's where they came up with young lady, is from her call sign. A few months after she got her license, she could copy 28 words a minute. And she remained Britain's only YL transmitting until 1932. Here is a QSO card from Hiram Percy Maxim, 1AW. He's co-founder of the American Radio Relay. This was like, that started back in 1914. Do any of you know what the call sign is for YLRL's main headquarters in Connecticut? That's correct. I don't have a present to give you, I'm sorry. Like you did, to everybody here. But thank you anyway. Okay, here we go. Okay, and one very special card that I got was from Cliff K. Hart. He's 106 years old, and he's still working HF and assistant living. The local radio club set him up so that they could string a wire outside of his room into a tree. He was very fortunate for that. And I got to interview Cliff back in December. I wanted to do an article about him. I had heard about Cliff, and he was a joy to interview. And as Judy mentioned, eventually QST had it published in their 2012 issue.
2018.
I'm sorry, 2018. Sorry about that.
This last Wednesday's Ham Nation, Bob Heil interviewed him, and they had tidbits of him and his interview with him on Ham Nation. And they showed your article too.
Oh, did they? Well, isn't that? I knew he was going to be on with Bob Heil.
Yeah, they showed it this Wednesday.
Okay.
My husband and I were on Ham Nation with Valerie here in Oklahoma City, and so we got a tidbit of this too.
All right. So, maybe they saw that article in QST and said, let's go ahead and interview him because of...
He interviewed him like a few months ago, and they just
about a month ago?
A few months ago. I'm not sure the exact time frame, but he's had it.
Yeah, okay. I got 3 more minutes, so I got to go through this quickly. By the way, all of you are welcome to come up front and take a closer look at my QSO quilt. I just ask that you not touch it. It's my heirloom. Okay, let's get to the selecting the 50 states QSO cards. My criteria for a QSO card was that it had to have the state name on the front of the card. It had to be colorful, it had to have good resolution. I'd like to have a cartoon or pets or landscape or city. And I did not want to have 2 states with the same QSO card. It had to be different. And I really preferred QSO cards that didn't have the report on the front of the card, like you'll see in this picture here. Here you have KM1CC, and everything is right on the front along with Marconi. But if you look at the Alaska QSO card, the report is on the back of the card. Okay, and one other thing is printing process to transfer QSO cards to fabric. I had to scan the card into my scanner or my copier. Then it was saved onto the computer. And then I had to resize it so they all would turn out the same size. And I had to buy special fabric that has a paper backing to it. And then I could scan it through my inkjet printer. And the most important thing is I didn't want to run out of ink. So that's very important. All right, like I said, I did not make the quilt. I had my Aunt Judy Kilmer from Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, who offered to go ahead. She's a professional quilter, that she would make the quilt for me for free. I said, no, Aunt Judy, I'm going to pay you. So she designed it, and it had to be symmetrical. So if you look there, she went ahead and put my QSO card in the middle. So when you come up to look at my quilt, everything is alphabetical and it goes across. Okay, well, this concludes my QSO quilt, and it'll be here till around 3 today. And again, thank you for letting me tell you all about my QSO quilt. Thank you so much.